What is up, guys? It's Mateo's 2020 Politics here, and today we have some really big news. Kamala Harris is out. Now, of course, this has to, come across as a shocker to literally everybody because, yeah, she had gone downhill, but it's still crazy how she dropped out before Iowa has even come along. It happened before the primaries began. And at some points in the summer, she was polling as high as 15%, getting at second, maybe third place in some polls. And then over time, she began to fade away, kind of plummet, to the point where she was at about 4 or 5%. But in the last few days, man, she really went down. She just went to 3.5%, 3.5% a couple days ago, which is just the lowest she's ever been. She's never been lower than that. And even Michael Bloomberg surpassed her in polling. And then, I just thought, okay, she's really not doing well. But, she's, okay, compared to how she used to be before. But think of it this way. As of when she dropped out, she was at, like, 6th place out of 16 candidates. So, she's actually doing a pretty good job. It's just that compared to where she used to be before, it's actually bad. I mean, she lost like 80% of her support. That's not a good thing. So, nevertheless, I'm still surprised because, once again, 3% is actually more than the average candidate. And most of the other candidates, since most of them are at 1 to 2%. So, she's actually doing pretty well compared to the other ones. But even she recognized, look, I'm not going to go back up in the polls. I'm not going to surge. I'm just heading downhill, so why not just leave on an okay note instead of leaving completely wrecked and in debt? So it's good. She actually exited on an okay note. She was doing all right when she exited, which is a nice way to go. Because imagine if she had stayed for months and she would have been at like 1% or 2% or something. That wouldn't have been a good way to exit. So now that was part one of me being surprised. Part 2 is, am I happy she dropped out? My answer to that is so-so. Because she was one of the moderates. She wasn't a centrist. She wasn't a progressive either. She was just kind of a bit in the middle. And it didn't really come across, because, here's some policy proposals. So she was pro-Medicare for all. But she was against free college, I believe, and against many of the other progressive policies. At least she was pro-Medicare for all. So she drew that interesting line that many candidates drew, like Eric Swalwell, who dropped out a while ago, or even Kirsten Gillibrand, which is the whole idea of, look, I'm not a centrist, but I'm not a progressive either. I'm just a typical moderate Democrat. I'm just average. I'm generic. And, with Kamala Harris, she's gonna surely do well with the identity politics game. She came in as a middle-aged African American woman, a woman of color, who's young, and she has had a long career in politics. So if she comes in, it's a pretty good sign. And I mean, at her first rally, she had like 20,000 audience members. Crazy. Imagine having 20,000 people just standing around you for a speech. That's insane. So she came in really strong, and I kind of feel bad for her because the whole feeling, imagine having the feeling of, wow, I used to be doing that well, and now I'm just not in good shape. Or rather, I am, but just not as well as I used to be. It's not a good feeling. It's a pretty bad feeling when you realize that you've come down a long way. You've fallen down really badly. And that's what happened to her. And she came in, I kind of liked her. I even considered supporting her. I considered supporting many candidates in the January, February, March area. And I really solidified my support for Bernie probably in April, around there. I was kind of undecided before then. So, and for a while, I was actually considering supporting Kamala Harris. She did pretty well. And what happened to her debates? Really, her debate performance like this. Do. Something happened. So first debate, she did very well. She was smooth the whole night, passionate the whole night. She destroyed Joe Biden on his whole busing record. Second debate night, she actually, she was doing a pretty good job throughout the whole time. People seem to forget that. She was doing a pretty good job until the very ending, while Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her on her record. So that was really the only bad moment. So you could say it was an okay night because you had one really bad moment that kind of, destructed her. But then throughout the whole rest of the night, she was pretty smooth and pretty strong and agile. For the third debate, she was just laughing the whole time, not taken seriously. But for the fourth and fifth, she made a bit of a comeback. But I think it was too late to save her campaign because, after the first debate, she soared up to like 15%. And after the second debate, she started slowly crumbling and going downhill. So this is a long video. There's lots to talk about. She's a big topic, and she was a really big candidate, and she kind of still is, if you think about it in terms of comparing her to the other candidates. So once again, am I sad to see her drop out? I'm not sad, but I'm not happy either. I'm just surprised. I'm just shocked. I'm like, wow, Kamala Harris just dropped out. Pretty big shocker. Because, yeah, she was going downhill, but I would have thought that she was going to make it into Super Tuesday at least. She would have made it through Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada and South Carolina, and maybe withdraw after Super Tuesday, definitely get into March, and possibly even April. But clearly that didn't happen. She just dropped out many months earlier. And it's a good choice because she clearly understood that she wasn't going to make a comeback. She was slowly just going down, 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 and she wanted to leave on an okay note. So, and it kind of, relates to the whole term of less is more. Why does that relate to this topic? Well, because, less is less. Sometimes less can be less. So, like, if she would have dropped out 3 months ago, she didn't give enough of a shot. She didn't give herself enough of a chance to redeem herself. But at the same time, if she would have stayed around for too long, she would have kind of dragged herself. She would have gone down even more and more. But at least she exited in the less is more manner because she stayed around for less. But in that case, she made more of an impact because she left on an okay note. So will I miss her? Yeah, actually, kind of, because I didn't really agree with her, but she was certainly an important candidate. She isn't forgettable. She'll probably be remembered for a while. And wow, it's pretty hard to digest that she has dropped out this early, although she wasn't doing well. We all kind of, were suspicious that she dropped out soon. I saw an article where it was saying, oh, she might drop out in late December, but she dropped out even earlier than that. And I don't think the trend is going to continue, but you had on, December 1st, you had Joe Sestak withdraw from the race. Then you had Steve Bullock. I keep blanking on his name recently. I keep forgetting his name. He dropped down to second, and then the third is Kamala Harris. So I'm like, hold on. There's this weird trend where there have been 3 days, and for each one of those days, there's been one candidate that has dropped out. So I was kind of wondering if somebody would drop out today because today is the 4th. But I guess nobody ends up dropping out. But yeah, nevertheless, overall analysis of the video, I am kind of sad to see her go because I didn't like her, but she was certainly an important candidate. She wasn't really a centrist or a moderate, which kind of made her look a bit flip-floppy and not really strong and agile. And she left on an okay note. She wasn't just completely done when she left. She wasn't below 1%. So who will drop out next? No idea. No idea. So, see you guys later, and bye.